I think the policymakers need to understand that this is not rocket science at all. You don't need Einstein to help you with this. It's quite simple. The various steps that different countries have gone to secure a stable environment for growth and development has been done many times. Many countries have done it. It's just that somehow Papua New Guinea wants to find our own way, disregarding the large body of studies and information. Now you mean like walking law, like blow you mean. The most important thing is that capital around the world has to move freely. And in countries where it can move in and out freely, that's where the bulk of the investments take place. Now, Papua New Guinea, because we are so resource rich, we tend to do the lazy thing and fall back on the resources. I see a lot of Papua New Guineans, especially on social media, they'll post about Fiji. Well, Fiji is doing brilliantly because it has no resources. They have to operate at the same level as the rest of the world following these rules, so they can attract the investment that will then give them the economic growth they need and the quality of life they want for their people. They are forced to do it. Unlike us, we just have to fall back and relax because we're an island of gold floating on a sea of oil and we've got gas spurting all over the place. So that's the easy way out. We take that. In the process, we forget that investors and even our own people, the number one thing we all need is a safe and secure environment. So law and order, without doubt, has to be number one. Now, many of us have talked about this. I'll give you an example. My province has 160 policemen. 40 of them are about to retire, so I have 120. My province is twice the size of Fiji. The population of my province is almost the same as Fiji. Fiji has 5,500 policemen. So obviously they've figured something out that we're still not understanding. That's the first thing you do. The second thing you do is what we keep talking about. We need policy stability, not political stability. Australia changes prime ministers every 3 years, but the policy environment remains stable, stable over decades. And we've got great policy. They're all collecting dust. I'm not even sure when we actually pick one up to read it. We just spend a whole heap of money getting very brilliant people to design them, and then we kill a lot of pigs and we have this big celebration. We launch the policy, then we put it away. And we forget about it until the next minister comes along and we do another policy. Just to show that we can do policies. But whether we implement them or not is an entirely different matter. Economic diversification. Now, I feel sad when I mention this one. We've been talking about this to death, 40 years of talking about economic diversification. We just haven't done it. And I keep asking, I've been in Parliament 7 years now. Well, this will be my 7th year. And I keep asking myself, why not? I've had these discussions in government caucus. I've gotten upset in government caucus. I've walked out of government caucus. I've exited government caucus many times and been put back on. But we're still nowhere near working on this particular item. My other favorite, investment in productive capacity. And I think I was very excited to read one of the IMF reports a couple of years back where they actually said the same thing. Papua New Guinea needs to invest in its productive capacity. Now, what does that mean? Well, a couple of budgets ago, we gave a lot of money to the Livestock Development Corporation. And I was very excited. I'm like, okay, because I did recall saying to the Prime Minister one time when they were going to connect PNG from Leh all the way through to Jayapura. And I said, what for? We just need a ship to go from Leh to Medang, Wewak, and Jayapura, right? I mean, a ship is going to cost 5% or even less, 2% of what building the road is going to cost. They're like, no, we need the road so we can take all the cows to Jayapura. We're meeting with the Indonesians, and the Indonesians want cattle. And, you know, we're going to supply cattle. I'm like, well, where's the cattle? Livestock Development Corporation gets a whole bunch of money, and I'm thinking, all right, we're going to get some breeding stock. And we're going to put this breeding stock around the country, and that's going to develop our ability to produce cattle. What do they actually do? They're building abattoirs. Almost in every province. Nice fence, big fancy building. Again, where's the cow? I know it sounds stupid, doesn't it? And that's what I don't get. I mean, how silly is that? When in 2017, when I read a report that cocoa was going to go gangbusters around the world because there's going to be a 12% shortage of supply coming out of West Africa, now I find out it's actually a 30% deficit in supply, and it's going to last for another 5 years. What did I do? I invested in productive capacity. What's productive capacity in cocoa? Well, you actually need a cocoa plant, right, to produce a cocoa pod. I know it sounds silly. So what's the best way to do that? Well, you need a nursery. Go back to basics. So what did we do? We developed 600 budwood nurseries. We have more cocoa nurseries in East Sepik than the entire South Pacific combined. How much did it cost us? 2 million kina. That's all. Now almost every single village in East and West Sepik, we've got cocoa nurseries up in Telefomin. Now that's like I said, I feel that I'm offending you by telling you this, seriously. That's what you need to do. So this week, my good friend, the member for North Fly, now wants his people to grow cocoa. They actually got vanilla from us, and they're doing vanilla, which is great. And he's going to send an aircraft to Wewak to pick up cocoa seedlings so they can start their nurseries. Isn't that amazing? I've got Sepiks who did the work in East Sepik, now in Gulf Province, they're in Central Province, they're all over the country doing precisely what we did from 2018, 19, 20, and what we're still doing. So that model is now being moved around the country. It's very simple, but here's the deal. We've never produced more than 40,000 tons of cocoa in this country. But we've got land and labor available that can do 1 million tons a year. But for almost 50 years, we've just gone nowhere with it. You can say the same thing for cocoa and, you know, the new favorite, cattle.